Hey y'all, this is Eb, and I just want to thank you for tuning in to the Making Legacies podcast. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode.
You are broken, it was spoken, I can feel it, there's a lesson, we must listen, God has spoken, where we are now is forbidden. Yes, I love you, that's for sure. But you're broken to the core. I can't give you any more. It will wash out by your shore.
It's no wonder that I eventually crumbled under the weight that I placed upon myself as I look back and realize that I was trying to be you in so many ways. From a young age, I strived for perfection, getting smiley face stickers and good job on spelling tests in elementary turned into getting A's on all my assignments in middle school and high school, which didn't happen, I might add. And every time I failed to meet that bar I set for myself, I felt disappointment and worthlessness. Growing up, I had an auntie on my dad's side who would always call me Miss America. Every time she saw me or spoke to me, she'd be like, "Hey, Miss America." She would tell me how pretty I was, not knowing that at the time I felt so ugly and how smart I was. That I was going to be a fancy doctor one day and to not forget her when I got my big doctor degree. Her words were life to me when I felt like I was drowning in self-hatred. And I wanted so badly to achieve perfection. I wanted so badly to be that big doctor with a fancy degree, to not only meet her expectations, but those of teachers, other family members, friends, and ultimately my own expectations that I set for myself. I got waitlisted by the university that I wanted to go to, and I remember bawling my eyes out because I felt like I wasn't good enough to be accepted. I felt like I wasn't good enough to be accepted. Wow. That's a lie I would carry well into my adulthood until I was eventually set free by a different realization. I ended up going to my mama's alma mater where I was selected to participate in an honors program, which slightly lessened the sting of being waitlisted and seemingly settling for this school. In my sophomore year, my parents separated and we ended up moving out of our house. I was so angry at God because I had been praying for him to fix their marriage since I was in middle school, and he didn't do it. And as much as I wished I couldn't fix it. So I decided that I was done with him and that I was finna wild out. And I did. I was going clubbing every weekend and getting drunk. And I stopped going to my classes consistently and wasn't really studying at all. One particular night, I drank too much. And while me and some people that I considered my friends at the time, while we were dancing at the club, the room began to spin. I staggered off the dance floor to a table and vomited all over myself. One of those people actually did turn out to be a real friend, and she grabbed my phone and went to get me some water. While she was gone, though, the bouncer came over to me, grabbed me by my arm, and began pulling me towards the door. I tried to explain that my friend went to get me some water, but dude wasn't having it. He pushed me out the door, but I honestly felt like Jazz from Fresh Prince whenever he got thrown out. So here I was, sitting on the curb, covered in vomit, embarrassed and humiliated, with no phone to call for help and alone while people laughed and pointed at me as they waited in line to get into this club. I realized I couldn't get myself out of this situation, and I asked God to get me back to my dorm. I was trying to show him that I was good without him, and I didn't need him, but all I did was reveal to myself how big of a mess I was. I told him that I would live for him if he got me out of this. And as soon as I told him this, I promise y'all, a girl with hair so blonde that it looked bright appeared next to me and asked if I was okay. I remember being like mildly confused. Like, where did this chick come from? But then I was just like, you know what? Can you please just call the T and get me home? She called the shuttle, helped me on the bus, and rubbed my back the whole way to the dorm while holding a trash can for me as I continued to be sick from the alcohol. As I got off the bus, I thanked her and she smiled at me. And I never saw that girl again. And even now, to this day, I just know in my soul that she was sent by God to get me back. Only He could have rescued me from that situation. Honestly, y'all, there have been so many moments like this one throughout my life that I just can't tell it all in this episode. Where I came to the end of myself and realized that I can't control everything in my life. I can't always fix what ends up fractured and broken as much as I desperately want to. But I will share one last moment. One night, I was having a moment of vulnerability with my mom. I was crying because God had just showed me a powerful revelation. Since I was a child, I had watched her try to be Superwoman in her marriage, at her job, in her friendships and relationships, and just in everything. And I, in turn, began to do the same thing. But it wasn't until the aftermath of the situationship that I was in that God showed me the cycle. That I was trying to heal and fix this person by sacrificing myself and giving all I had to give until it only resulted in me becoming more fractured than I've ever been. I was trying to please not only just him, but everybody else, and it left me broken, burned out, and feeling barren. I felt like a failure because I didn't meet those expectations. I never became that doctor, and I made so many bad decisions that I was ashamed. As I told this to my mom, I watched as her eyes filled with tears, and she told me that she too spent much of her life trying to be perfect. That all she knew was taking care of things and taking care of people and giving until she had no more left to give. I said, Mom, you're human. Let God be God. I know my life has looked a hot, steaming mess these last 3 years. And you have been concerned because this version of me, the version of me that was always planning and had everything under control, died a brutal, bloody death. But that was Miss America who died, Mama. That wasn't me. And while this version of me is not who you think you know me to be, I'm no longer trying to be God anymore. We're human, Ma. We can be free and trust that He got us. And of course, me being my silly self, I tried to lighten the moment. And I said, hold up. What that babyface song say? I'm not your superwoman. Boy, I am only human. We laughed and laughed. And my mom said, hey, as we continued to sing the song. But I share this moment to say, whatever or whoever it is that you may be trying to fix, heal, save, or rescue, understand that you are human. And while you can accomplish many things, you can't always restore who or what has been broken. But He can. Let Him have it. Let Him have them. And be willing to accept that the outcome won't always look how you want it to. It was hard and uncomfortable and even painful for me to release control. For my mom too, before she passed. But ultimately, we realized that when we do, we can be free from a weight that we were never meant to carry.
Savior,
thank you for listening to my story. I hope that as you tuned in, you began to think about the losses in your own life, how you can view them as lessons, and how you can make legacies right where you are. Please make sure to follow and subscribe to Making Legacies so that you can catch when my next story drops. Till next time on the Making Legacies podcast.